Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Faithful Faith TV. How are you all doing, my people? I want to say a huge thank you to you all, my subscribers. Thank you so much for your love and support. I just want to appreciate you all. May God Almighty bless you all abundantly, and wherever you're watching me from, good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
My people Rufai and Reuben Abati react as APC blasts Peter Obi over press conference that was held yesterday. Some people are saying, why is it that as Peter Obi came out to do his press conference, that is when APC remembered to do theirs, but when Atiku came out to do his, they were all quiet. Are they scared of Atiku? Anyway, my people watch this video and like and subscribe.
Actions from the presidency and also the party. Felix Moka has accused Mr. Peter Obi of living in what he calls alternative reality, what he calls a space of political delusion. And Mr. Bayo Ononuga, the special advisor to the president on information, has said that Mr. Peter Obi is involved in a copycat reaction. And he used some other adjectives that I think maybe should not be repeated in decent company. Okay, I think the reaction is a bit overboard. Both Mr. Ononuga and Mr. Felix Moka, knowing that, look, there is an end to litigation. And that after the Supreme Court, the apex court of the land, you can only appeal to God. I thought their reaction was not necessary. You cannot, how did they say it in traditional parlance? You can't beat a child and expect him not to cry. If Mr. Obi, as is the case, has lost at the apex court, he has every right to make a comment. What is important is to listen to what he is saying. And, I think he's addressing Nigerians generally, not necessarily President Tinubu, whom he did not call out. So I think that in this particular case, silence will have been better in terms of response. Before now, we had former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who responded. Okay, nobody made an issue out of that. He responded, that passed. Mr. Peter Obi now, 2 weeks after the fact, has now made his own press statement to put a closure to it, or to use his phrase, to announce a new beginning for his own political career. I don't think he has committed any offense. That's number one. The second point, what are the issues raised by Mr. Peter Obi? Mr. Peter Obi flagellated the Supreme Court. He was saying that the Supreme Court contradicted itself, derailed the course of justice, voted for technicalities instead of substantive law, and that all of these will breach the confidence of Nigerians in the judiciary, and that, the Supreme Court disregarded public opinion. I don't want to comment further on that. I've made a point repeatedly on this program. There's a book by Professor Friedman, which I've quoted in an essay in this day newspaper, back page, I think last week, talking about public opinion and Supreme Court and all of that. But people just must know that the law is the law, okay? I don't want to go further there. But Mr. Peter Obi and the obedient movement, whom he specifically acknowledged, and this is a response to the Supreme Court, I've always said, public opinion should determine what happens in the courts. If public opinion determines what happens in the courts, then of course, why do we have justices or judges or magistrates? Now, okay, Mr. Peter Obi, like Waziri Adamawa Atiku Abubakar, also referred to the valedictory speech given by the now outgone Justice Mohammed Datijo, who criticized his own colleagues and drew attention to omissions within the judiciary. All that is fine. I don't see a problem with it. What is more important is that Mr. Peter Obi has also said that he and the members of the Labour Party and the obedient movement are going to go onto a new beginning, which will be to play their role as the opposition. That is our expectation. That is what we want. More importantly, he made a recommendation that, presidents of Nigeria should have a single 5-year term. Now, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar had recommended 6-year term. The principle behind it being, look, let this thing go round. After 6 years, let it go to another region. We have 6 geopolitical zones. But Mr. Peter Obi, responding to that particular point, said, look, let it be 5 years. So that within a cycle of 30 years, you will have had a president of Nigeria from different parts of the country to generate a sense of inclusion, togetherness, unity, in line with perhaps the federal character principle under section 14 sub 2 of the 1999 Constitution. Now, my comment on this is that it is interesting that this subject is coming up. During my tour of duty as special advisor and presidential spokesperson, this issue came up. President Jonathan was the first to say, look, let's do a 6-year term for this presidency. But the opposition at the time, led instructively by the APC and perhaps also to a large degree by now President Tinubu, said, Jonathan was trying to get a second term through the back door and wanted to elongate his stay in office, even when everybody knew that a law cannot have retrospective effect. And now we're back to that conversation. And I hope that some of the issues that have been thrown up by both Waziri Adamawa and Mr. Peter Obi will be issues that people will listen to see how all of that can be taken on board to reform, the electoral process, to amend the constitution so that we can move forward. Mr. Peter Obi declaring that he would now take on the role of the opposition is welcome to do precisely that. And he talked about a quasi, parliamentary presidential system. Well, that's another issue that he brought up. I would have expected both Mr. Ononuga and Felix Moka to respond to some of those issues that he and Atiku threw up and use that as a basis for public debate, rather than all this name calling him copycat, calling him. No, you can't beat a child and expect him not to cry.
Okay, so a couple of things. Mr. Peter Obi took our time to respond to all that had happened, the Supreme Court ruling, and he has every right to. And he talked about the need for public opinion. And I also have to reiterate, public opinion does matter in society because it's an agglomeration of public opinion that forms what makes society law and its own morality. If public opinion doesn't matter, all right, when there was a bill pushed for homosexuality in this country, public opinion refused it because that's not our society. Even the electoral law we have today is an offshoot of public opinion. Public opinion is so important that the grundnorm, our constitution, says we the people. Why didn't it say we the drafters? So that's the power of public opinion. And Peter Obi enunciated that yesterday. Talked about the fact that he will be in opposition. What opposition should do is create solutions. So what I expect from the Labour Party now is every sector of the national economy, anything that happens, give a robust response. Take, for instance, the Naira situation. What would the Labour Party have done? So I want to see more articles as regards this. And that's what brings me to the issue of why I'm going to call Mr. Peter Obi out this morning, and I'm going to disagree with him. Mr. Peter Obi, you are disagreeing with the president as regards the yacht, which I condemn, the 5 billion. But how about your own Labour Party lawmakers? Why can't they reject that 160 million for the cars? Because if Labour Party was touted as something new, as different, you need to be able to stay with the people. And the people, public opinion, is against that 160 million. So if you're going to tell your Labour Party lawmakers or your Labour Party senators to reject it, it's the best you do it now. Also, it's time for us now to go back to the National Assembly. And these are some of the things lawmakers must push. Let's fine-tune the electoral law properly. We need to be able to know, are those guidelines laws? Can we codify them? Can we make all of those amends to the things that blighted the last elections once and for all? Can those reforms, as been stated in the waste panel, start to take effect? Can we actually push to a certain extent now that the president will not be the one to nominate the next INEC chief? Before you know it, anytime soon, the president might choose to nominate a new INEC person. But the president should not be nominating the INEC chief because of bias. That's what the West report said over 15 years ago. And that's why when Mr. Jega was saying it, I said, Professor Jega was saying it, I said, it's been said before, it's in the West report. And he alluded to that fact. Can we also rejig INEC? Can we make INEC more accountable? Can we fix our electoral system within the next 4 years? Those are the kind of things opposition should do and make a lot of noise about. The APC reacting, yes, they'll react, they take a shot at Peter Obi and all of that, but that does not remove from all the matters that we put on ground by Peter Obi, which he made very pertinent points for. And I must repeat, talking about the presidential rotation, in the first place, why should the presidency even be this powerful? We had regionalism that worked for us back in the days. We had the Midwest region, the Southern region, the Western region, and all of that. And these people grew, and these regions, beg your pardon, grew at their own pace at that time. And that's what we've been talking about when we're talking about restructuring. This same APC, led by El Rufai, had a committee set up for restructuring. What's the result of that committee? What's the result of the confab report? Till today, it's not been implemented. So we need to now talk about how Nigeria will run over the next 4 years. Because if we don't get those things right, we'll just rigmarole to the next electoral process. And when we rigmarole to the next electoral process, we continue the mistakes we've constantly made. And those are the things I believe opposition should do. And people like Peter Obi and Waziri Atiku Abubakar should start pushing. And that's why we have robust opposition. Like I argued before, I am not saying, and a lot of people misconstrued me because people know how to misconstrue what people say. I am not saying that opposition parties should be paid to be in opposition, but I'm saying that for the importance of what the role opposition play in every society, climes like the UK even pay their opposition leaders. That was just to enunciate the importance of the opposition. So ideas, this is where we want flourishing ideas. This one want good logic. This one want article upon article, tackling the things government are done wrong, and also praising them when they do well. And that's objectivity of opposition, because in the end, we want this country to work.
Thank you so much, my lovely people, for watching or for listening. I really, really appreciate you for all your lovely, lovely comments. Thank you so much for all the encouragement. God bless you for all your support. Please, if you have not subscribed, subscribe, like, comment, share. Also, turn on your bell notification that you will be notified each time I upload any new video. Thank you so much. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.